People was on here now. I told you about him. He's the guy who made like $10 million off of his art. I've been following him on Instagram for like 2 years now. And he sold all of his art except one single NFT. Holy crap, he's really big right now. That's insane. I think I can read him. Yeah. His art is so weird. He's a multi boy. Where is this guy? Hello? I can't hear you.
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Yes.
Do you know what
Can you
gallery?
hear me?
What's that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ah, okay. That's fine.
Do you know what gallery we're supposed to meet in?
What?
Do you know what gallery we're supposed to meet in?
You have a board. Can you see the board?
Yeah.
If you have a Quest 2 headset at Quest 2, you have
Yeah.
when you touch the button.
Yeah, I can see the board. I'm just looking for the gallery.
Yes. You can choose your gallery favorite in the board. I have a gallery. I'm from France, and I opened my gallery today, but I don't understand. I don't see my gallery.
Well, you might have to ask the curators of the program about that.
Can you repeat, please?
You may have to ask the owners about that on the Discord.
Yeah. Yes. I asked before. I asked 7 hours before, but Brandon, the boss, I think he's the boss, and I have no response about that.
I'm sure he'll get back to you later today or at some point.
You know this man?
Yes, he's on the Discord.
Yes, I have Discord. I have a contact with Brandon. The name is Brandon.
Yeah, yes, that's him.
But I don't have the answer, the solution for see my new gallery. This is the weekend, you know?
Yeah, yes.
Maybe I have news at Sunday or Monday. You have a gallery here?
No, I don't.
Okay. Where you come from?
What's that?
Where are you come from?
I'm from Canada.
Canada too. Brandon is from Toronto. I speak with.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, with this in Toronto. I'm from the south of France. I have a gallery in south of France.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What kind of art do you do?
Experimental gallery with VR or performance art, drawing with the computers or 3D, photography with the contemporary dolls, and technology.
Wow, that sounds very interesting.
Yes.
Are-
Yeah, it's very interesting. But in the gallery, there is something about these works. If you come the next week, I think the gallery will be open.
I hope so.
The name is Future. Future. In French, in English is Future. In French is Future.
Mm.
Dot VR. 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 Voilà, this is the name.
Are you here for the event tonight?
Oh, this where here there is a event.
Yeah, there's an event going on tonight. But I'm looking for the gallery it's
Oh.
taking place in.
Oh, okay. At what time is
It's supposed to be starting around right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm waiting.
I have no idea. Why don't they post this on the... Fat boy. It's not on their Facebook either. Why don't they post the information like that?
How do you get to Olex? Have you? Exactly.
Hello?
I need to get to the menu.
Do you know what gallery the event is taking place in tonight?
It's in the Brazzo Gallery.
The which gallery?
The Brazzo Gallery.
Oh, okay.
And you have to go to the menu to find it. I don't know how to get to the menu.
Spacebar.
Oh, spacebar. Thank you.
You're welcome. There it is. Listen to sound. Oh. Perfect. Oh, this is pretty. Now we wait, I guess. I want to show you some of Beeple's work. It's so bizarre.
Okay, Olex, are we getting a repeat now? Olex, are you, am I okay with my earbuds in? It's only one or the other of us that are talking, right? Oh, we have somebody else.
There's one
Good.
particular one. He was on the one. He was such a
So who else do we have in the room? V. Zachary.
Yes, hello.
Hi. You know what, we're getting a bit of echo here, so I'm gonna move into another room.
Okay, sure.
Thank you for coming.
No problem, anytime.
Okay, I'll leave. Actually, just sit outside. Well, are we getting a feedback now? Are we okay?
Sounds okay.
All right, good. Olex, are you there? Olex? I'm not hearing you, Olex. Zachary, can you hear Olex?
No, I can't.
All right. Is that better? Is that better? Olex? Olex? Olex, we're not having Olex in here.
We can't hear them. We're at home here. We can't hear them.
Okay, you know what? We'll do it. In the meantime, charcoal drawings. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. So Zachary, I'm sorry, who else?
Yes? Oh my god, his equals won't even equal. Holy crap, this far. It'd be incredible to go here and talk though.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Welcome, everyone. I trust that everyone can hear me. It'll just be easy to instead, so we can proceed and have a look at the exhibition a little bit closer. This is a first for me. I feel like I'm in the science fiction. This is really cool.
Hey, Patrick, if you want to press spacebar and go to settings and mute yourself so we don't get feedback.
So, yeah, these are a suite of works that I've been using for the last very long time. I've worked with a specific technique here, and I've been honing this skill for quite some time, maybe going on to 30 years now. And it's one in which I use my index finger to create these images, which are based on films, predominantly art house films from Italy and France. And I thought the best way to go about looking at this exhibition is just alphabetically the titles of the pieces here. So the first alphabetical title is Almanacco Topolino. It's this image right over here. It's the one with the woman. She's propped up in a bed. And this is based on a moment in a 1965 film. The director is Marco Bellocchio. Just a great name, Marco Bellocchio. It's beautiful eyes, discerning. And this is Marco's very first directorial debut, his very first film. It's called Il Pugni in Tasca, which translates as Fists in the Pocket. And it's this very caustic and irreverent movie. I mean, after all, the director didn't have much to lose when he made this film, and it still packs quite a punch almost 60 years after it was made. And this is an image with an iconic photograph on the headboard. It's a 1953 publicity shot of Marlon Brando, and it's a shot from the Wild Hunt. And the young woman that's propped up in her bed is an actress by the name of Paola Piatarora, and she's reading a Disney comic book, and you can sort of see it says Almanacco Topolino. Did a little bit of research on what this was. I mean, I could recognize the Disney characters. I think that's Huey, Louie, and Dewey, the nephews of Donald Duck. And this was a series of Disney publications that were called Almanacco Topolino. It translated as Mickey Mouse's Almanac. And I was able to find out exactly which cover this was for the Almanacco Topolino. This is the October 1961 cover. So just over 60 years ago that this periodical would have been circulating. And I just love the forlorn sort of quality in her face there.
You said
next in alphabetical order is a piece that's titled City Limits. It's right next to it.
Hey Patrick, if you just want to mute yourself in the settings so we don't get a feedback.
Oh, okay. I thought I did, but I'll do it again.
This is a nice little piece, a charcoal on paper piece. This is inspired by several moments in a film called Europa 51. It was directed by Roberto Rossellini, of course, a very important director in the neo-realist movement. And this is several moments which are stretched out, and many of those individuals, for instance, the boy that's running is repeated on several occasions, and this will happen time and time again in the drawings where a character is repeated multiple times. And if we think about film as something that passes through us, I consider these drawings as something completely else, something that arrests a moment and elongates that moment, but in a very different way, as one visual sweep, something that we would experience in film as through time and space. Here is seen as one visual sweep. And similarly, in the large drawing, which is the Turtle Coliseum, this is an image which sort of sutures several moments. This is inspired by one of my favorite directors, Bernardo Bertolucci. And this is Bertolucci's directorial debut in 1962. It's hard to believe that this is going on to its 60th anniversary next year. And this is an absolute masterpiece, in my opinion. Definitely, if someone was to ask me, what are your favorite top 10 films, this is definitely in that top 10. This is called La Comare Seca, which translates loosely the thin, skinny, or the Grim Reaper, as it's known to English audiences at the time, in 1962. And the film begins with the brutal image of a prostitute's corpse on the banks of the Tiber in Rome. And the film unfolds from there. It retraces the actions of several suspects, all of whom are known to have been in a nearby park at the time of the murder. And each suspect recounts his activities during the day and the evening. And each narrative serves as a slice of the life story. And in this particular episode, we're investigating one suspect. His name is Teodoro, and you can see there's a Italian soldier who's seated, and he's looking off to the right, and that's Teodoro. He's an Italian soldier who is on who's sort of on leave for the day from the army. And Teodoro is spending his time wandering Rome. In this case, he's come across the Colosseum, and he's really in a state of reverie and wonder, being immersed in the ancient ruins of the Colosseum. He's repeated 3 times, once seated, and then you can see right in the optical center of the drawing, you can see a little bit of his profile as he passes that gentleman. And then he catches up with an English language tour group. You can see that he's right in between the 2 figures wearing glasses there. And so that's Teodoro, played by an American actor, in fact, by the name of Alan Miget. And I just learned from Wikipedia that Alan had just passed away earlier this summer in June. And I was very sad to hear that, because I really did want to reach out to him and let him know that he's been immortalized in this large drawing. But it's too late, however, and he passed away at the age of 82. But he was quite well known in the Warhol group. He was one of Warhol's superstars, and was involved with the factory scene. So yeah, that's a little bit about that image. Next in line is following Metropolis right here. This is also a large drawing, and I just got the scale of this one. Following Metropolis is 48 by 126 inches, so it's quite large. 120 by over 300 centimeters. And this is from the film Paris Belongs to Us. It's directed by Jacques Rébet. It's 6 years ago, so this came out in 1961. There are several overlapping moments integrated into this composition. And what are these? What's this group of people doing? Well, they've just finished watching a film, and we know exactly what film that is because Rivette, the director, actually incorporates footage from Fritz Lang's futuristic film Metropolis from 1927. And here we're seeing the reaction shot of them. The film has just run its course, and that projector bulb is just about to extinguish, and we're seeing everyone kind of regrouping, getting back to reality after the film has been screened. And you can see they're all lighting up their smokes, and everyone's having a cigarette after the screening of Metropolis. I quite like this image. It's a lot of fun on several levels. Where we're sort of like I guess the point of view of us looking at this is the screen's point of view. We are the future, in effect. We're looking back at the past. So I like the semantics of this, of how Jacques Rivette has set up this composition. Right next to that large one is a small image. It's titled Man, Woman, and Child. This too is from 1961, and it features several moments from the film called Lola, directed by another Jacques Demy. And Lola is Jacques Demy's first feature film, and it was shot in Nantes, in France, on the coast of France, during the summer of 1960. And Lola's original negative was destroyed in a fire, and a new internegative was produced in 2000 with the help of a print that was found in the British Film Institute. So it's been restored, and now we can enjoy it in its first restored format. And who's the actress? This is Anouk Ami, who plays the title character, Lola. That's her stage name. She's sort of like a cabaret dancer. Her real name is Cecile, and we'll come across the name Cecile again in another drawing. Yeah, so let's move on. Where else? Oh, next in line after Man, Woman, and Child is an image which is titled Motion, and it's sort of an anomaly in this grouping, and it's if all of these ones are kind of panoramic and horizontal, this one is vertical, and it features several moments from a film. You see that one? It's it's right over here, and it has sort of 3.5 or 3.25 images. And this is from another Bertolucci film, a later film. If we originally saw his directorial debut in La Comare Secca, this is a later film from 1964 titled Prima della Rivoluzione, before the revolution. And this is read from bottom to top, and you can see the movement, particularly of that woman that's on the bicycle. Next is Perugino, and this is a kind of more of a nautical scene. It shows people out on a yacht. Well, here it is in this corner here. And yeah, so I've titled this drawing Perigina. It's the name of the 40-foot yacht that these characters are on. This is inspired by a film, a 1960 film called L'Avventura by Michelangelo Antonioni. Antonioni is a consummate image maker. His moving pictures are astonishing and masterful compositions. You can essentially stop any one of Michelangelo Antonioni's films and they will make a very powerful statement. And the drawing's title shares the namesake of the 40-foot yacht, as I had mentioned, and it was rented during the filming of Antonioni's L'Avventura. And the seacraft is approaching a dormant volcano island. I learned that it was from the one of the directors, I think it was a director's commentary on the film, that this dormant island is called Lisca Bianca, white fishbone, and it's located in the Aeolian Sea. Some of the characters are immersed in this internal reverie, while others contemplate the splendor of their surroundings. With this work, I wanted to capture the tranquility of being set adrift. This moment is immersive, and all those aboard flow toward an unknown, perhaps ominous destiny. Are there any questions along the way? If you do, please don't hesitate to ask. I'd be happy to.
Yes, I actually had a
share
question.
whatever I can.
You said you drew these with your
The
hands?
next image is right next to Perigina. It's posters. And this has a number of moments in it from the film. It's called Amici per le Pelle, translated in English, Friends for Life. It's directed by Franco Rossi. And I like how, just as we saw the Almanacco Topolino reference in one of the drawings, here we can see a pop cultural reference to a 1946 spy film noir, Notorious, directed, of course, by Alfred Hitchcock, starring Cary Grant, Ingrid Bergman, and Claude Rains. So this shows the three different perspectives on over the shoulder shot of this young man looking at the poster. And then in the middle is a POV shot, a point of view shot of the poster featuring Ingrid Bergman. And then we almost cut back to the young character turning around and looking just off the camera. Let's see, what's next? We're getting up to the S's, and that would be schools, which is right next to the one that we just saw. And posters, yes, here we are, schools. And this is taken from another film by Michelangelo Antonioni. This is called Il Grido, 1957, translated in English as Cry. And we're seeing a girl walking by these enormous schools, and you can see there's a hint of what company had produced these schools. These are large Pirelli schools. Pirelli, of course, is the tire manufacturer based in Milan, so we can deduce that this is probably on the outskirts of Milan in Italy. And the girl is, her name is Rosina, her character name is Rosina, and actress that plays Rosina is Mirna Girard. And when Rosina was almost hit by a car in the context of the film, her father slaps her in front of a schoolyard of children. She runs off. She's quite humiliated by what's happened. She runs off and walks among these large schools, contemplating what has just happened. Okay, what's next? We've got steps here. Steps is, let's see. This is an image which is inspired by Jacques Rivette, another Jacques Rivette film. It's called Paris Belongs to Us. Perrine nous appartient. And let's see, where is it here? Oh wait, here it is. It's a smaller image. Right. It's right on the same wall as following Metropolis, and Man, Woman, and Child is right next to the Man, Woman, and Child. And there it is. And Steps is from, as I mentioned, Paris Belongs to Us. This film is set in Paris in 1957, and it often makes reference to the Shakespeare play Pericles. And the story centers on essentially an innocent young university student named Anne, who, through her older brother, meets a group of friends haunted by mysterious tensions and fears that lead two of them to commit suicide. So this has that. This has sort of a somber quality to it. Next, we'll have a look at the Apparition. And the Apparition is, let's see, or actually, sorry, if I could, I'll end off with the Apparition, and we'll look at a drawing which I titled When Our Souls Dream. And this particular drawing incorporates two different sources. And it's, you can see it right next to, oh yes, Smoking Girl. We should actually return to Smoking Girl. So we'll talk about Smoking Girl after we have a look at this image of a woman, and she's in the passenger seat. This is inspired, as I mentioned, by two films. And let's see, When Our Souls Dream is inspired by a Serge Bourguignon film from 1962 called Les Dimanches de Ville d'Avray. And on the right is a moment inspired by John Cassavetes' beat classic film titled Shadows. And I think that's the only American reference in this body of work that we can see on the right-hand side of When Our Souls Dream. And right next to When Our Souls Dream is one of my favorites. It's titled, well, you can guess, it's Smoking Girl. I can't, no, I'm not hearing any. Yeah. Are there questions? Yeah. Should I try it with the, okay. Okay, sure. So yes, Smoking Girl is also from the film Lola, and And this is an image of Cecile. You might recall I had mentioned that Lola's stage name that is Lola, but her real name is Cecile. And that's this little girl's name as well, played by Annie Duperron. And she's a 13-year-old girl who's celebrating her birthday in the film. But as it turns out, it was actually her birthday in real life. It was Annie's birthday, and it's also Cecile's birthday. Kind of a nice, not so fearful symmetry in the universe. And Lola's character is reprised by Jacques Demy, in a 1969 English language film. I had an opportunity to just watch it a few days ago. It was called Model Shop. It's a really great film. I mean, it really holds up to Lola as well, which is considered a classic. Lola, of course, takes place in Nantes, and Model Shop from 1969 takes place in California. And it's, like I mentioned, it's English language film. And yeah, what else? We've got one more, one or two more. Apparition. The Apparition is an image. It's a very long image. It's a long horizontal image, and it's inspired by Federico Fellini's film La Dolce Vita. Let's see, where is it here? Okay, yes, we're back on track here. So we're having a look at the Apparition, and that has a very large crowd. There's a large crowd here. Did it make the cut? I'm not sure. Sorry, we're just getting a little bit of technical difficulties here, which we should be able to sort out shortly here, and I can get to your questions. Yeah, looks like an image by the name of the Apparition didn't make the cut, but that's okay. We've got plenty to look at here, and yeah, hopefully we'll get Vinica, if you can text me any of the questions, and I'd be happy to address anything that the audience might have. What else? Yeah, so while we're waiting, I can mention that there's an exhibition up right now in the physical space at the Abbozzo Gallery, located in Toronto, 401 Richmond. And it's a group exhibition of the gallery artists, and it looks fantastic. I had an opportunity to visit it today, and I've got a couple of framed pieces in the mix. So yeah, if you can, do drop by to the physical space. It's worth the visit. So actually, I think I've solved it. So I can my speakers were on mute, so that's why. But I can hear if anyone has any questions.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah,
Okay,
now
perfect.
I can.
You said you drew these with your hands?
Yes, I use my index finger. That's my only tool that I use, and I rub the powdered charcoal directly
Wow.
into the surface of the paper. And this technique really gives me the most dexterity, and so how the warmth of the hand transfers into each drawing.
And
It's a technique that I picked up maybe, I went to the Ontario College of Art in Toronto, and in my final year, I had the great opportunity of studying abroad in Florence, Italy, and it was there that I started working with this technique, having been inspired by a class trip that we took to Venice. And it was in Venice that I saw the early works of Titian, one of the Renaissance masters, the late Renaissance masters, Titian. And in his later works, he painted with his hands, with his fingers. He kind of threw away his brushes and worked in this very tactile, direct manner, and that really inspired me at the time. I started working with what are called pigments, and I've now moved towards working with charcoal. So yeah, it's working with my index finger. I guess you could call it true digital art. So now that I've got the speakers on, I'm sorry I might have missed any questions that came up during the walkthrough. If anyone would like to ask, please feel free. I don't know, Ryan, if you're there, do you have any questions? So, is there any drawing that you'd like to revisit, have a look at a little bit closer?
Could you talk a bit more about how you decided to compose the drawings? You said you were looking at the films and putting many different moments from the film into one piece.
Yes, yeah. I've always been fascinated by film, and I'm interested in, I guess you could say, the elasticity of film. I mean, you can do so many things with film, not only physically, but also with the narrative of film. So many of these drawings, they're usually at the point where something very, very important happens. The plot thickens in some sort of way. So that's usually what I'm basing these drawings on, is a change in the narrative of the film, where the plot takes a twist. So these sequences that unfurl through cinematic time and space become transformative and more tangible as charcoal drawings. But at the same time, they're still, they still have a lot of narrative potential. I've given a little bit of background to the actual narratives, but I'm sure everyone would have a different narrative in their mind in looking at them. You can make your narratives when you're experiencing these drawings.
Yeah, I I find it fascinating that you're choosing to draw out moments in film, because I've also been interested in film myself, but particularly more with the movement that happens in film.
Yes.
Some of my artwork revolves around looking at film and trying to extract the movement that we see in film onto a canvas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, isn't it? I mean, and there's so many points of entry with cinema, and it's such an amazing medium, and I mean, it's one that's very democratic too. I mean, everyone can tell you their favorite movies, and there's a large public that is knowledgeable of film history. Even if you're not a cinephile, you can have meaningful conversations surrounding the medium.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's I think it's a very it's a young medium too. I mean, if you think about it, it's only a little bit over 100 years old. There's a lot of potential. Yeah, good question. Well, if there's no further questions, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming in, and I hope you enjoy the Meta Biennial as it continues on.
Thank you for the presentation.
You're very welcome.
All right, I hope everyone has a good evening.
Okay, take care, folks.
You too. Bye-bye.